When the river cleared and the clay faces dried into silence, the people of Aburi thought the curse had ended. But stories, like rivers, never truly end. They only change direction. In the days that followed, the villagers rebuilt their lives piece by piece. They scrubbed their pots clean, washed their tools, and prayed to the ancestors for protection. The market reopened. The laughter of children returned. Yet, even in joy, silence grew roots in every heart. No one fetched water after dusk anymore. No one shaped clay unless the sun stood directly overhead. And when the wind rose from the river at night, carrying the faint scent of burnt earth, the people turned their faces away. Effia stayed by her father's side. He no longer worked the wheel, no longer spoke of shaping anything. His once strong hands had become tools of prayer, forever clasped, forever trembling. He would sit before the cold kiln and whisper, "Clay remembers, but so must we."
At first, Effia thought those words were only a warning, a way to keep her from touching what once cursed them. But as seasons changed, she began to understand their deeper meaning. It was not the clay that had been evil. It was what men demanded of it: perfection, beauty, control. Her father had wanted to shape the world, not listen to it, and the spirit that rose from his hands had only echoed that hunger. When the rains returned, the river swelled again. Fishermen cast their nets carefully, avoiding the deep bend where the black water had first appeared. But one morning, a net came back torn, as if something beneath had resisted being pulled to the surface. The village held its breath. That night, Effia dreamt of the kiln. Inside it burned not fire but water, boiling, bubbling, whispering her name. She woke to the sound of footsteps outside. Her father was gone. Effia followed his trail down to the riverbank. The moon hung low and red, painting the water like blood on glass. Kojo knelt by the shore, holding a small pot in his hands, one she had never seen before. It was plain, smooth, unmarked by any pattern. "I made this for the river," he said softly, not to trap it, but to apologize. Before Effia could speak, he waded knee-deep into the water. The river trembled, the wind rose, and in the reflection of the moon, Effia saw movement beneath the surface, a shape forming, fluid and human, its face calm, its eyes deep as wet clay. Her father lifted the pot high, whispering words that sounded older than language itself. Then he sank it beneath the surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the river went still, unnaturally still. Kojo turned to look back at his daughter, his face peaceful for the first time in many moons. "The river remembers," he said. "But now it forgives." And with that, the water closed over him. Effia screamed his name until dawn, but the river gave no answer. Only the pot floated to the surface, empty. When the sun rose, she carried the pot back to the village. The elders gathered around it in silence. Nnoka Forest, the old priest, touched its rim and nodded. "It is sealed," he said. "The spirit sleeps again." He turned to Effia. "But every spirit, good or ill, leaves something behind. Your father's craft was both gift and curse. You must decide which one you will inherit." Years passed. The story of Kojo the potter became legend, told to warn those who worked with their hands to respect what they shaped. Children whispered that the clay in Aburi could still hum at night. Women fetching water would sometimes find smooth pebbles carved with spirals, as if the river itself still played at remembering. Effia grew into a woman of quiet strength. She no longer molded pots, but she taught others to listen, not just to their clay, but to the earth beneath it, to the silence between hammer and drumbeat, to the breath of the ancestors that lingered in every creation. One day, a traveller came from a distant village, seeking wisdom. He had heard the tale of the cursed potter and wished to learn the secret of pure craftsmanship. Effia led him to the riverbank where her father had vanished. The pot still rested there, half buried in the mud, its surface smooth as skin. "Tell me," the traveller said, "what was his mistake?" Effia looked at the flowing water, her reflection bending in its current. "He forgot that shaping is not power," she said. "It is partnership," the traveller frowned. "Partnership? With what?" She smiled sadly. "With everything you touch. The moment you forget that, your craft will remember it for you." That evening, the villagers gathered for the harvest festival. Drums echoed across the hills, and dancers stamped the ground with joy. Effia sat near the fire, watching sparks drift upward like lost souls finding their way home. When a child ran to her, holding a lump of clay and asking her to teach him, she hesitated. Then she took his small hands in hers and guided them gently, shaping a pot not from command, but from patience. The clay was warm. It did not tremble. It did not hum. And for the first time in many years, Effia smiled. But as the drums quieted and the fire died low, she glanced toward the river. The moonlight shimmered on its surface, and for a fleeting second, she thought she saw a ripple take the shape of a hand. Not reaching, just waving. In the land of Aburi, they still say, the hands that shape must first learn to listen. Power without humility brings ruin. Creation without respect breeds monsters. And even the most beautiful craft can turn against its maker if the heart behind it forgets gratitude. Clay remembers. So does the earth. So do the ancestors. And sometimes, so does the river. So when you next hold something molded by human hands, a pot, a drum, a mask, ask yourself, what story still sleeps inside it? And if it ever wakes, will it remember you kindly?